What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your old Spider, and I'm joined by some lovely guests today. But starting with the one and only Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome, and I think everybody should know it and tell everybody else, and then come back and tell me that they told everybody else that I'm infinitely awesome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to do the math in my head. If every one person tells two people, then those one person tell two people. Then
there you go.
How are you going to receive all of those people coming back to tell you that they told everybody? How do you want them to contact you?
In the comment section. We love reading comments. Yes!
We do love reading comments. But you know what it is. If you see this layout, and audio listeners, I keep telling y'all, you got to go watch the video. But if you see this layout, you know we have some very special
watch the video.
We are joined once again by Keisha and Michelle. How are you ladies doing today?
We're good. I'm doing good. Happy to be back.
Same. Happy to be back. Excited to talk about the movie.
Happy to have you back. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on the show. But
God damn right it is.
Of course, if you didn't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpower TV, movies, trailers, we watch them, we react to them, we break them down, we review them, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it?
Was it?
Maybe.
Is it?
Possibly.
But
But we'll find out. But
that's what you get a
But if you like that, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, keep coming and watch the video. But if you like the audio version, just search for All Things Super on any of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. But if you
we like reading the comments.
And we like reading the comments. We've already established that. But
well, sometimes you gotta say it twice. You never know. You never know. Some people be like, "Oh, he did say that. He did say it."
We got emphasize, re-emphasize, and then extra re-emphasize on the emphasis.
It's a lot of. It's almost like telling one person to tell two people to tell.
But if you have clicked on this video or you have selected this audio podcast episode, then you know
what it is.
That
you already know what it is.
We are going to be discussing, we're going to be breaking down, we're going to be reviewing Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Keisha's in our phone.
I had to wait. I'm so sorry.
They will come for you. They will come for you so bad.
It was like, damn, it all playing out. She wasn't even looking. But no, we're going to be talking about Wakanda Forever. So, first initial thoughts before we get into all of the spoilers and everything. Mr. VIP Frank Washington, I'll start with you. Did you like Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Listen, there's no secret. With the passing of Chadwick Boseman, the world was in awe. They're like a stop. Because we were wondering, how are they going to do this movie without him? And then when Marvel came out and said, we are not going to recast Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. They also double down and say, we will not. Like this. This is how Kevin said it. We will not. That's exactly how he said it. What I heard. That's what I heard. We will not CGI Chadwick Boseman into this movie. So we're all at a collective. Well, not me and Spider, because we said in our other video that more than likely they were going to do exactly what they did. So that's not a spoiler. In fact, if you would have watched us, you would have known exactly where they were going. We were right. You welcome. Anyway, so it was a challenge to do exactly what they did. And I think what they did couldn't have gone any better than how it went. And that's my opinion without spoiling the movie.
All right. I'll take that.
That's all I can give you.
That's it. That's all we're going to get out of it right now.
That's all. That's it. That's too much. I gave too much.
I thought it was a good movie. I cried. It happens. But no, they did really well with the tributes to Chadwick throughout the movie. They did really well with that.
And what about you?
He is.
We're gonna get.
She understood without revealing any spoilers. She understood.
This is how I don't tell spoilers.
It just takes the cup. Well, Keisha, what do you think?
I really enjoyed this movie.
That's it.
A lot of aspects of things being from Central America. There were just a lot of things about this movie that I just really truly enjoyed. And Ryan Coogler just did his thing. Like, it was awesome. Yeah. So yes, I cried too. Maybe not a little, just a lot. It was just amazing. Like Michelle said, like the tributes were just a perfect touch of it. It kind of felt like a last goodbye that we didn't know we needed. You know what I mean? Like we mourned him for all these years, and now it's like it was the goodbye we all needed. It was just perfect. So yes, I really truly enjoyed it.
Slide it on home, man. Don't you do it.
I share the same sentiment. I agree. There are a lot of just beautiful moments in this movie. Like Keisha said, just stuff that we didn't think that we needed and we didn't know that we were going to get. But once we got it, once we received it, we were just like, yeah, that's kind of perfect. But the biggest thing was not only when you have a film with such success as the first Black Panther did, and how pivotal it was for a culture, a people, and just the MCU as a whole. Because you take one of the first African American first Black superheroes, because not African American, he's African, but the first Black superheroes to be featured in mainstream comics, and you have it popularized in this sphere in the MCU, and just to see the outcome of everything that happened with the first movie, and then even before Chadwick's passing, the question is always, how are they going to top what they did for the first movie? And of course, we know Chadwick's passing only sort of complicated things. Nobody really knew where the story was going to go. Ryan Coogler went on record and said that he had an entirely different vision for what the movie was.
He had a whole script written.
Right. And so, just to be able to turn on a dime and completely revamp, revitalize, rewrite everything in your original story to, not only to tell a new story, but also incorporate in that story the memorialization of your friend, your main leading star, and this man who became, kind of an icon for people across the world. And it's just, like y'all said, I don't think that they could have done it any better than what they did. We didn't know what we wanted. We didn't know what we were going to get. But what we did get, I think it was truly fantastic. And with that being said, we're letting all of you know.
Get to the meat and potatoes, please.
Video watchers, we gotta hit you with the spoiler.
Our audio watchers, listen.
Audio watchers, who's watching audio?
Yeah, you watch what she is.
You gotta turn. When you turn the radio down, so you can see better.
Exactly. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Hey.
You're right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and hit y'all with the. That is your official spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Black Panther, it's right over left. I gotta make sure I do it right. It's right over left. If you haven't seen the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever, then
You're lame.
you heard it here first. I mean, that's at this point, it's such a cultural thing to do, such a pop culture thing to do, such a water cooler topic to talk about. Your official spoiler warning has been hit. So if you don't want the movie spoiled, I suggest that you go watch Black Panther and then come back to look at these awesome people and get their awesome opinion about this awesome situation. There you go. The work's done.
You've been warned.
I can clock out now.
But no,
I'm done for the day.
All of you have been warned. From this point on, it's going to be full spoilers. We're going to dive into it. But I will say, I want to start off with this because I know we all have a lot of things, even though we haven't really discussed anything about the movie since we've seen it. This is the first time all of us are talking together after seeing the movie. But I can already know that there are a lot of things that we enjoyed about the movie. But I want to start off with some negatives, if there are any negatives, because I want to get those out of the way, because I feel like there aren't too many, if there are any at all. So,
I got a negative for you.
okay.
I got one.
Frank Washington, what do you got?
And this is going to fast forward all the way to the end. Okay, so here's my negative.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Chad died. We all know in the movie T'Challa died.
Right.
At the end, when they took the queen, I understand that in the montage of seeing her brother, how powerful that was. But at the same time, I think you should have gave me the father, the mother, then the brother last. Because there's no denying that those other two people impacted her life as well, and they're all gone. And you just stuck to the brother. That's the only thing that I would say they should have changed at the end. They should have did the father, old footage, the mother, whatever footage they want to use, obviously, because Angela Bassett could have did it just like she did the tell them who you are part, and then the Chad part. And that would have made a complete wow versus just Chad.
So I have a question about that, and I'll take whatever y'all opinions are on this. So are you saying that we could have got, all three of them? Because, of course, we have Shuri, who has lost her entire family. Just like she said,
correct,
after her mother passed, she said, I lost the last person who ever truly knew who I was. So if we were to get additional footage with Queen Ramonda, with T'Challa, but also with T'Chaka, we never got a scene with T'Chaka and Shuri. So we wouldn't have any old footage to go through with that. Do you think they could have, do you think Ryan Coogler could have gotten T'Chaka, the actor that played T'Chaka, to come back and kind of do some shoots, sort of just with some kids? Like, kind of try to de-age him a little bit, have some, like, kids, like a young T'Challa, young Shuri, kind of showing that, and then with Ramonda there, and then kind of do that, incorporate that as well. And
I think it would, and don't get me wrong, it was a gut punch at the end to do that, but that would have been a real gut punch, because it's like, oh yeah, her dad is dead. Right. Oh yeah, mom's dead too. Oh, and her cousin's dead, and her uncle's dead, and her goddamn. It's like, oh wow. It was like, yeah. How could you not understand what she's going through? She's lost her whole family. Right.
I feel like it really showed that Angela Bassett's character was not a very good leader. That was the only thing. Like, she was, like, to me, she wasn't the greatest queen. Like, I feel like besides saving Riri Brown, like, I felt like she just made a lot of rookie mistakes.
Not rookie mistakes.
Like, she's not, like,
queen
did you not take training? That's the only negative I thought. Felt like, she was up and up. Like,
what is energy was?
She was. I'm sorry. That I felt like was really wrong. I wish that she's such a great actor. I wish she played more she was more level-headed as a queen. But then she lost her son. She's very emotional. But right. I just felt like she wasn't queening, like, to me. It just felt like she was making all these emotional decisions.
What do you wanted her to do? I mean, like, what? I mean, you're saying she was.
I wanted her to not start a whole war. That'd be great.
But I mean, the thing about it was, I think that you take as a mother, you take where we start off, where she's gone into the United Nations, and they're talking about, well, Wakanda hasn't been pulling their weight, they haven't been taking part in, all of these sanctions and everything, and she's just straight up said, we never said that we were going to distribute vibranium to the rest of the world.
Never told y'all that. Who told y'all
said that we were going to give you any of our resources. And
never told y'all that. Who said that?
Right. And we still, one of our outreach locations has been attacked. And it's like, not only has it been attacked, but we know who attacked it. And then she walked the mercenaries of the soldiers into the United Nations.
How embarrassing is that?
Dora Milaje at her. Like, I mean, like, that's just my opinion. I just felt like she could have been a little more.
Kill him, huh?
No.
I feel like I do understand what you're saying.
I feel like she could have been better utilized. That's all. It wasn't a very strong character arc for me from seeing her step into that role. I just didn't. I felt like it was just kind of like that's the only character I didn't feel was very strong in the entire movie. It wasn't bad. It was just not great for me. Yeah. Because M'Baku did his thing with that carrot. Like,
yeah.
Man had a carrot and still a seed.
Vegan, you know? So there were a lot of characters I just loved. Hers, like, it just wasn't like it just didn't pop out to me. And I was waiting for her. I was kind of waiting to see.
She was not a queen, and it was.
Yeah, she just wasn't.
Like,
She wasn't the queen of the queen.
Stuck your queening up.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, the UN team was gangster, but I felt like that was more like the Dora Milaje. They didn't show any strategic things that she had did. There was no real like exposition about how she went about doing this. So it just felt like you taking credit for something that, I don't know how they got there. That's all. Like, it was just kind of like, I just wanted to see a little more of her.
What about when she did
when she took away?
Yeah, when she removed Okoye's joint.
That was so annoying. Like, sis.
That was so unexpected, though. That was like.
You star? It was just like rookie shit. Like, I just wouldn't. No, I don't care how mad I was. It's like, she's the best thing you got going on.
She got a whole army.
Does she? Who else you know from that army? Name 2 people.
There is.
Thank you.
No.
Let's move on now. Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, like, it just, like, don't get me wrong.
Wasn't it like Nika or something like that?
It's her. It's okay. You say exactly. So I'm just saying that's your star player. Your daughter is taken. I get it. You mad, but you need to give her the opportunity to rectify herself.
Right.
Like, this is like your most loyal person from like Did you not see? Wait a minute.
Like, if she knew her daughter, she would have known that her daughter probably did like went on her own kind of thing. Like,
thank you, Michelle.
You say you know your daughter that well, you should know
yeah.
it wasn't her fault that the daughter's gone.
Exactly. To me, it just wasn't very strong. It just wasn't very like.
I'll say this, and I'm not discrediting your opinion is your opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you kind of can understand. She said, "Don't take my daughter on this mission." And then when Killmonger took the throne in the last movie, she was loyal to the throne no matter who sat on it. She kind of, she's harboring that. Like she had almost lost her son and then she lost her son. Understanding emotional distress.
Y'all to back all the way up off of Okoye's back. She was following the rules these people laid down. That's not nothing to her. She was minding her doing her little job. And then it's not her fault. Y'all made these laws.
It was undermanned when she went out there on that mission. It should have been. But then it was just going to get a scientist who was known as a kid anyway. So
first of all,
you don't send a whole fire brigade.
Shit was everything for me. They did that right. I stay with Riri Brown. Riri Williams, I'm sorry. I was like, I like her. But that was my only negative, sorry. I don't feel like the queen was queen.
Michelle, you have any negatives?
My only one was at the end with that mid-credit scene when she introduced his son.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, because she was asking like, oh, like, did he meet him? And then did the queen met him? And of course T'Challa met him. I'm like, then why the hell didn't Shuri ever meet him? Like, why keep it from her for this long? That's what I was just like, how the fuck is the queen gonna meet him and not Shuri? Like,
I don't think like that's kind of cap. But at the same time, like, I don't understand why the queen wouldn't tell Shuri about him, even if she met him. I mean, it's been 6 years.
Well, like, I just kept it a secret.
I keep telling her she wasn't queening. She was on some other shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can understand and think that maybe because Shuri has so much grief going on, there was no room.
Think knowing that you had a nephew, the last piece of your brother would have gave her some comfort.
Of course.
Yeah. You know, so it's the queen just wasn't doing what she needed to do. She had to die. She just had to.
And there was like one brief moment where she was trying to, or she was about to tell Shuri, but I can't remember what interrupted them because she said there was something.
Yeah, she did say something. I need to tell you.
I need to tell you about your brother, and then it got interrupted, and it was like it was so brief and then brushed aside. Like after everything else that happened, it kind of like took a back seat to everything else that was going on in the story. Yeah. So it's like they introduced it, but they did I feel like they did a poor job of paying it off. Like, yeah, we get the big reveal that he has a son at in the mid credit scene, but it's like Michelle said, like why? And we were talking about it on the way home yesterday, and I'm trying to like put a timeline in my head. It's like, okay, well, T'Challa came back from the blip.
Make a baby.
That baby was made already before at the end of Black Panther 1.
That's what we were thinking because the kid looks like he's about 6 years old at this point. So Nakia would have had to have gotten pregnant before Infinity War. And so and I think that may have been why she left instead of fighting with them because she was pregnant.
She left.
And so she left, she went to Haiti. And we were talking, we know T'Challa got blipped, we know Shuri got blipped, but we don't know, I don't think Ramonda got blipped. So if that was the case, then in those 5 years that T'Challa was gone, I'm pretty sure that, you know, she went down to Haiti to be with Nakia, to help her out. That's when she met, you know, young T'Challa, because what Michelle was saying, she showed up at the orphanage or, you know, wherever Nakia was working, and the little kid came up into her, saw her, and was like, "Oh, you're here to see the headmistress." So, like, obviously, she had to have been there before because you're not going to just walk up to some strange woman who's walking into the school and be like, "Oh, I know why you're here. I've never seen you before in my life." So she had to have been there before. But so I was trying to put a timeline together. If T'Challa came back 5 years later, after Endgame and everything, and at some point during that time, he would have gotten sick. And it's sick enough to where his health had, really deteriorated to where it prompted Shuri to try to recreate the heart-shaped herb in order to try to save T'Challa's life. And in doing so, she wasn't able to. T'Challa died. And then we have a year after that. T'Challa has passed away. And Ramonda still hasn't told Shuri about it? Like, what were you doing in that whole year?
The queen got stuff to do. It's a whole ceremony. It's
I'm happy we can move on. That's the worst part.
Oh, wow.
It's stressing me out. She was stressing me out the entire movie.
Was it the fact that she cut her hair? What's going on that she was stressing me out?
Some of the decisions she made, I felt like just weren't very smart for someone to be in that type of position. That's all. Like for me,
emotionally charged rather than
logical. Which I get and I understand, but I would just like to see her be a little more rational, a little bit,
be a little more queenly.
Yes, thank you. You need to go watch House of Dragons.
We don't need that kind of queen. That kind of queen is dirty and underhanded.
Gross. Spider, would you dislike? Would you dislike? Please don't show your face. This is a family movie. This is for the children.
Sorry.
Children out here.
No, I think my only, and like y'all pointing out these extra details, and I 100% agree with y'all. The only thing that I caught on, my initial viewing of the movie is just some CG stuff. Because I'm always
that was my other thing.
For the smoothness, and of course, it's an MCU movie. There's going to be CG elements to it. There's going to be stuff that's, the visual effects and everything. It's just some of the scenes, especially like when they were out on their large ship in the ocean, and Shuri's standing on like the bow of the ship, and then everybody else is behind her. I don't. It's just some of those scenes. It just seemed like they were rendered weird, and it just didn't, like, her character within the scene just didn't look placed right. I don't know if it was just like the lighting behind her, or the lighting wherever they were on the blue screen, the green screen, or wherever they were. But it was just like some of that was weird. And then when she was kind of like Spider-Man across the side of the ship, like flipping and everything. And we had this discussion before when we were talking about the original Black Panther movie with T'Challa and Killmonger's fight in the cave at the end of the movie, where it's basically just a CGI battle. You have these two CG characters who are fighting each other, and they're flipping around and doing all this other kind of stuff. And it just, I know for the most part, you have stunt performers in motion capture suits that are doing the tricks, and those are being tracked. But when you have these overly acrobatic feats that you have these CG models doing, they all just look a little rubbery, like they bend in ways that humans normally wouldn't bend. So you can obviously tell this is a CG rendered model. So it's just like some scenes like that where she's fighting, and it doesn't look as, I guess, as realistic as it could look as far as CG characters go. And the only other problem, and I know that they can't do this in a PG-13 movie, I guess, but Namor stabbed Shuri through the stomach.
Hey, I know where this is going. You're looking for something that's just not gonna be there, buddy.
It just doesn't make sense. Now I understand it's a PG-13
clean as a whistle.
Shuri gets stabbed in the stomach, breaks off the end of the spear, pulls herself
like
off of the spear.
Like a boss.
Like a queen.
Like a boss.
But the spear was bone dry. Like, you have no blood in your system. The vibranium cleaned it off.
Always.
Real queens don't bleed around here.
She used that.
But that's, and it's like,
she used that good Wakandan,
The heart-shaped herb is like an instant coagulant. Where you don't.
There you go. Just go ahead and dry that out and just walk off of it and look back at it like, I'm good.
That's the only thing that bothers me. And it's like, I know, it's a PG-13 movie, so you can't show the gore and all this other kind of stuff, so you can't show blood dripping off the spear, but I felt like it would have just been like a little bit more impactful to see, like, of course it'll be dripping red.
How many guys you seen in this exact movie get annihilated and you see no blood come from them?
I mean, you're right, and I understand it. That's why I say I understand it, because they did the same thing in Morbius. The dude got slashed across the throat, and he was like holding his throat and like gurgling, like he was
first of all,
blood, but there's no blood.
Start blowing bubbles. Hey, don't bring that horrible existence of a movie into this conversation.
I'm just making it into a movie about blood has no blood in it.
Feel like you got Morbius all over this good movie.
Like you just killed the vibe.
That's why I wanted to start with the negative, so we could get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Push that to the side, sweep it under the rug, throw it out the window. All right, so
good job.
So before we move on, any other negatives? Anything that anybody else want to point out?
I didn't like the CGI on Okoye in her midnight. What's the name of that suit?
Yeah, it was ugly.
The Midnight Angel suit. It did something weird around her head. It was like, what is going on right here?
She looked like something out the Predator. It was not very cute. It was very cute. It was not. I don't blame her for not wanting to wear that shit.
She said it's getting uglier.
This party shit, and I felt in my soul, like I was like, I see why she didn't want to wear this shit. It was hideous.
Shout out to the Fly,
but not a complete negative, but that's one thing too. Yeah, I thought it wasn't very flattering. It wasn't very pretty.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
it was weird in this area. It was doing something.
That's how they were designed in the comic books.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just take the whole head piece off.
Please.
I mean, you could all render and then come
all
apart.
the technology and freaking Wakanda glitter. This piece was just not giving. It was just bad. It was just so bad. Yes, you're right. That was a good one. Yeah.
But no, I don't have anything else in a negative mindset besides that, and that it was those two things for me. I'm trying to see, since we're talking about the negatives, was it a negative? I mean, I think it was done tastefully and done respectfully. They didn't really get into the nuances of the illness that T'Challa
That was very respectful. Yeah.
fell upon. Because you have to define it, because at the end of Black Panther, you see him take the heart-shaped herb in the ice, got the powers of the Black Panther back, went through a tear on Black Panther. Notice again, if you watch the first one, he did not kill not one of his people.
No.
In the first movie, he just kind of incapacitated everybody. And
well, I mean, he's killed Killmonger.
Well, did he though?
I mean,
did he?
I mean, he's in the ancestral plane, so he dead. There's no arguing that.
He unalived him.
Didn't kill him, just been alive.
He unalived him. Let's just go with that.
Yes. That sounds accurate. He's unalive.
Unalive.
Because we talked about this.
Really dead. It's the MCU.
Would Disney Marvel showing all these ancestral planes and the Duat and all these Valhallas and all these after death places that people are just going and chilling and say, yeah, I'm just waiting for that call so they can call me back down to earth so I can go back and do more stuff. No one really dies in these things, right?
Not really.
But I will say this.
He dead.
Oh wow! Wow!
I'm just saying.
I mean, if you hate us, just say that.
You can't say that nobody died because.
I mean, I thought you were gonna say Uncle Ben, but
everybody knew that Uncle Ben dead. Uncle Ben ain't never coming back.
Wow, what is going on right now?
You're gonna say Uncle Ben by the way, they already look.
Listen, it was respectfully done, but I'm saying if they didn't do it that way, and that's why I said they did the movie exactly the way they did it, because I couldn't see it going any other way, because how can you explain why is he sick or why is the illness has taken over? You would have to get into that.
Yeah.
But because the heart-shaped herb gives you heightened everything, immunity, flexibility, speed, durability.
You could survive a stab to the stomach with no blood spilling.
Always.
Well, Shuri had that new, because Shuri had a little bit of the synthetic heart-shaped
Listen,
herb with the Calipana mixed into it.
Let's talk about that one.
Let's talk about it then. So, what percentage was the organic heart-shaped herb versus the synthetic one? Because the synthetic was 98%, right?
Well, no, the confidence rate was 98%.
It's MCU science.
No, the confidence rate.
That's a thing now.
She asked Grill, what's the confidence rate? What's the likelihood that this will be successful? So that was the 98%. It was fully synthetic. It was 100% fake.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you 3D print something edible. Because
I mean, it depends on what you use the 3D
Well,
printer.
it all depends on the material.
Yeah, well, what material are you putting in the 3D printer?
It's freaking
Gummies.
What Keisha said, it's science.
MCU science.
The Twizzlers. You pull them apart and they're like the little string.
I think they call it Twizzlers.
Also, it's a heart-shaped herb, and like, it could have just been like a plant-based kind of material.
Yeah.
Who are y'all looking at?
Each other.
We're not normally in the same.
Michelle's like, look here, I'm trying to.
we have a sidebar conversation.
Look at this is what happened.
Listen to me. thinking. I'm making sense of
I'm
this
making
science.
sense. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on the material that they're using, right? They can use gummy candy.
Gummy string.
I mean, how's it glowing? Keisha say this.
Look here. I was in that movie and I would accept that.
And
Yeah.
again, it was all
I'll allow it. It's okay. This is
like,
fine.
It was
that's-
the way the molecules work. It's DNA. It's all the molecules, how they work together. The chemical reactions and everything.
And
that's
clearly
how
they
it's
have that new age 3D printer that print edible plant-based
THC.
minerals,
Fiber.
fiber.
Vitamin E.
That's that Delta 25.
I mean, she could print a whole baby if she wanted to. Just let me have this.
I think that's
Science.
what Michelle was saying is exactly how I went about this movie. Everything was like, I'll accept that.
Yeah, it really
It
was.
was like, I'll accept
It
that.
wasn't. It was just enough for me to be like,
Okay.
Because like it was a lesson that you wouldn't see in the world now. But like you gotta think that Wakanda is its own thing. They're so advanced, so they would have more
Well,
advanced
yeah.
technology.
Well, not the more advanced excuses, but you know. Because it was like, when you were talking about the child, it was like, did my mother see it? She was like, yes. Like, this didn't tell me. Like, she knew I had a nephew and she didn't even say nothing. Okay, I'm gonna, as an audience member, I was like,
that's why she's
Oh,
unalive.
I'll accept that.
That's why she is unalive. She do all that type of mess.
The same is like, because if she did not tell the queen, it would have been like, oh, like you got this baby, you hiding this baby from the queen, and did T'Challa really know? Because it was like, I'll accept that. I'll accept it might be.
I'll accept it. All of this science.
Because that's exactly what I felt like. I'm like, okay, so he knew he had a son, but he didn't want his son to go underneath the guidance or the pressures of the throne. If anybody watched House of Dragons or Game of Thrones, you know how that is. So it makes sense.
I mean, if anybody saw the last movie, Killmonger had a whole speech about this.
Right.
Hey, a lot of pressure for a kid. And then it makes sense if you really want your kid to grow up outside of Wakanda to have a more worldly view.
Better appreciation
Versus-
outside of royalty.
Exactly. And then, bring them back to Wakanda whenever. So here's a question that I'm going to ask. Are we going to see a retelling of The Lion King?
What?
Because, of course, the new T'Challa is going to come of age, and he has a kingdom that's inherently...
Human for sin.
I don't think Shuri would actually fight him over it. Shuri has no...
Well,
Mbaku already coming for her. Like, look
But-
at her.
Mbaku is the king of
That's what I'm
Wakanda.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Shuri has no interest in being a queen or the king, or however you want to categorize it. She is interested in being a... Well, that's an option, too. But she's more interested in being a Black Panther. So when it's time to show up at the fall, she wasn't there. And I don't think anybody in any of those tribes have anything for Winston Duke's character of M'Baku. So we can pretty much...
So you're saying
crown him
that Mbaku could be king and Shuri could be Black Panther, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that they will allow.
Yeah, because the thing about
yes.
it was when T'Chaka was king before he died in Civil War, T'Chaka was king and T'Challa was Black Panther.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And then it wasn't until he died that they did
But
the
his father
ceremony.
at some point was the Black Panther.
Yeah,
This is
when
also
he was
true.
younger-
Okay.
Yeah, when he was younger, he was doing both.
Okay, but then as he got older,
Right. He
So
was
that
like,
is
he's like,
possible.
look, I can't fit in this.
Love to
I can't
see
fit in
that
this
then.
vibranium
I
suit
forgot
no
about
more.
that.
I gotta say
That's what happens when you eat Cheetos. That vibranium, that heart-shaped herb don't stop you from gaining weight. I thought it was supposed to slow your aging down too, though.
Nah, that I don't know.
a whole thesis on
Science.
vibranium.
But I mean,
Just
to
so we
be
know
100% honest, we don't know how old T'Chaka was. I like how both.
Not young enough to stop him. Not young enough to
Stop Lucky.
But it wasn't
Zemo.
Lucky though. It
Zemo,
was
sorry.
Yeah, it was Zemo. Don't be so.
Ain't no Bucky, man.
Don't be
Yeah.
his name.
He had a Winter Soldier mask on, so
Captain America gonna come after you. He talking bad about Bucky.
I'm so sorry. My bad.
John Walker or the old man Cap? Which one that
Old
is?
man Cap still gonna come after you. He gonna come down from
We
the
not
moon.
worried. We not worried. Him and Nick anymore. So this is all I'm saying. Like some stuff we just had to kind of accept. You know what I mean? We knew this was the conclusion.
Of course, for every MCU movie, you just kind of have to accept some stuff. But yeah, I don't feel
At
like
least this one was more tasteful.
It wasn't so far fetched.
Yeah.
It wasn't so far fetched that we were like, this makes no sense.
Right.
It was just like, okay, clearly it's a need to know basis. We're okay with that. Yeah.
But Spider and I talked about this a long time ago before they even really dropped with this movie. And I think you and I even talked about it too, because it's the more interesting story. It was either this or recast Michael B. Jordan and see him come to his conclusions of becoming Black Panther. But if you're going to get sure, you're going to have to go through the whole, what does this mean? And clearly from the old movie to this movie, there's a lot going on in her where you get to see her struggle and grow up fast. So fast to a point it was like, I don't even want the kingdom. I don't even want the queendom. I don't even want Wakanda right now. I'm still in the process of grieving in my own. I'll be the protector because she knows the government's coming. And there ain't no secrets about letting it be known that they're coming. She was very aware of the attack that happened on one of the outreaches. So they need a protector. Yeah. And it's no secret that I'm pretty sure she heard her mother at the UN doing a UN conversation or a speech saying that, you know, I hear the whispers. I hear what y'all saying. The king is dead. They no longer have a protector. So she's going to step up and be the protector, but she doesn't want the kingdom.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned Michael B. Jordan too, because Killmonger coming to her when she went to see the ancestors was so perfect to me because of where she was in her mind frame, and it speaks a lot about where she was after losing her brother, her father. It was like there was nobody else who could understand exactly what she was going through. Right. Like to me, when she saw her mother initially, it would make sense because she wasn't trying to be diplomatic at all.
No.
And I really loved that he was, because then he was like, for a minute, I was like, oh, they were related. Like he would be somebody that she would see. Like
first thing he said,
he brought that same energy from the first one when he's standing in the handcuffs. Hey, auntie.
Yes. Hey, auntie. Yeah, it was like
as well.
It was one of my favorite scenes because I was like, you're right. If she saw her mother, she saw her brother. That's not where she was. That's not the headspace she was in at all. Like it was not.
But
without prevention.
But prior to, we were thinking that's exactly who she would see. Like we were thinking, please don't show a CGI Chad or
I didn't want to see that. I really didn't
think anyone did. And so we were even at some frames, it looked like I saw the headpiece of Angela Bassett of the Queen.
Yeah.
But when they panned around and you saw Michael B. Jordan, you was like, oh,
it makes sense.
It makes so much
sense.
sense.
Here's the thing too. Here's the thing too, because we are doing exactly what we're doing, and Marvel is very aware that the fandom exists. A lot of guys like us are breaking down trailers and looking at the movie and thinking that we have an idea where the story's going to go. For them to successfully be able to kind of
throw us off
track and tell a great story. And shout out to Ryan Coogler and his whole team for being able to put something like this together.
Right.
Because again, the script was written. You were probably feeling great about yourself. I'm about to kill him. I'm about to kill him with this new script. And then you see on the news Chadwick Boseman passed, and you're like, no, they messed up again. They got the wrong guy again. Let me call my brother. Oh, they saying you gone, my guy. And then they like, he's really gone. And it was like, whoa, I wasn't there. I'm speculating, but I'm just imagining it went that way. So it was like, what? So you got to rewrite your whole thing and rework your whole thing at the same time. Like these guys are friends.
Right.
So you're still emotionally dealing with that. And Marvel's like, yeah, I know you feel sad.
We need you to come to work. You need to come in today. What's your day?
Billions of dollars right here, my guy. So I need you to pull it together. And like I said, he knew Chad enough to know that he wouldn't want him to stop because he put so much into that. You're not going to just abandon that man's legacy like that when he meant so much to so many people. It's a lot. And what we got, man, I don't think anybody could really ask for anything more. No. I mean, if you can. I've heard some people saying that they wanted something else. But again, they were saying,
yeah.
Well, they're saying we didn't need Val, and because we didn't really need Val, we didn't need Ross, and so they were saying we didn't need Riri. So if we didn't need Riri, we didn't really need the vibranium detector. But I think if you really take it for what the plot points were, it kind of all fits.
It do.
I mean,
it makes sense.
Who would think to make a vibranium detector anyway?
Riri Williams.
And she did it. I like how they said she wasn't doing it for the government. She did it for school. She did it for school.
And that's so real because you have people who have these like internships, so they have these final projects at these prestigious schools, especially somewhere like MIT.
And they own them. Right. You don't own those projects.
Like, once you submit that's no longer yours. So the school can do whatever they want with it. And like
whatever they want with it.
The government is going to be paying the school that Riri's not seeing any of that money. That's why she was so
shocked.
She was like, I never built anything for the CIA. And so
that's crazy.
It, like you said, you say that, well, people say that, oh, we didn't need this, we didn't need that, but it's like, you can't expect any MCU movie at this point to be self-contained into just this film. We've been a part of a expanding universe ever since 2008. Ever since The Incredible Hulk, when Tony Stark showed up at the end of the movie. That was it. That was the last time that we ever had a self-contained actual movie. And so we don't need Val. Sure, but I mean, we have information now. Val's the director of the CIA. When the hell did that happen? We don't know, but I bet you we're going to find out about it in the Thunderbolts. Well, we didn't need Ross. Well, may not even need Ross, but now the fact that Ross was a prisoner, a federal prisoner, Wakanda broke him out, that's going to bring the government back to Wakanda. That's a future conflict.
A lot of breakouts this season in the 4, huh? In phase 4. Because Juan broke out, I probably spoiled. Well, we hit the spoiler one. And that's a She-Hulk. Juan breaking people out, and then Wakanda's breaking people out. Wu-Tang breaking people out. I'm just throwing that out.
But we have all this stuff.
It kind of made sense.
Mm-hmm. Or even Val and Ross.
Did y'all see the map of Belize? The whole map of Belize.
Where? I missed that.
Look here, I was just proud. I had my little moment.
And see, and that's another thing, because just like you saying that, like you noticed that. Well, I know for me personally, I didn't notice that, but you have people who were upset when they made the announcement that Namor wasn't going to be Atlantean. He wasn't going to be from Atlantis. He was going,
thank God.
His heritage was going to be derived from ancient Aztec and Mayan cultures, kind of like all combined together. Right, and it's like people always like, oh, well, MCU is too woke. Oh, MCU is all about feminism and all of this, agenda. And it's like, but you don't understand. People who are outside of this realm don't understand the impact. How I've been seeing on social media, like a lot of Hispanic children, like they see Namor, they're doing that. Like this is
I see now.
Like
this is all.
What part of like ancient Aztec and Mayan culture have we seen depicted in films that wasn't either these cultures being, conquered and taken into slavery,
cannibals,
or savages, or if it's something like, the ancient, Mayan calendar, this is the end of the world. It's always being depicted in a negative light. But now you have something being shown to where this is a beautiful, Talokan was a beautiful city underwater. And it's like, we know at least those of us who watch Aquaman, know how horrible
Oh,
some stuff can look while it's supposed to appear to be underwater. But the way that they did this, I don't know, I don't know how they shot this. I don't know how it was composed. We talked about the CG of them, above the water, but the CG underwater, like them just, and this goes to probably one of my favorite things about the movie was just sound design because I don't know. I know Ludwig Göransson was the composer for the score of the movie, and just the music that was chosen for a lot of these scenes was just so poignant, so perfect. So when Namor and Shuri are kind of like floating through the city, and just you're like it's a feast for all your senses, right? So it's like you're getting this beautiful city, you see it with your eyes, and you have this beautiful music that you're hearing, and just them flowing through the water and being able to see all of this stuff and seeing this metropolis of a city, and it's just like I don't know what it is about Ryan Coogler and how he can write these villains, and I can't even call them villains, just basically they're antagonists at this
yeah,
point. And you as much as people can try to hate on Killmonger and like, oh well, he was a bad guy for doing what he did. It's like, but you
Was
understand his point though.
he was not.
It's like he wanted equality.
He did everything white superheroes do.
Exactly.
He's not a villain.
and it's like he just did it in an extreme way, right? And so that's what made him the bad guy. But it's like the same thing with Namor. It's like you see my city, you see my people, so you understand what I'm trying to protect. You understand why I can't, if these people, because you see what they did at the outreach center. If these people find out that there's vibranium here, near my civilization, and
they're gonna destroy my world to get this rock.
And if they do that, I'm gonna have to kill them all. You have to understand why I have to do that. But another one of the things that I appreciate,
he won the first part of the movie. Just started killing scientists. Like, wow, you thought you was getting away, huh? Yeah.
But
and the little ankle wings are working.
Another one of the things that I appreciated about the sound design was the use of silence, right? It's like you never really notice silence in a movie until it's like a scene, like if it's a beach scene or something, and you hear the music drop out, so you hear the waves of the ocean, or something like that, or if it's a horror movie, and so it's silence before there's going to be a jump scare. But normally when you have action scenes, when you have fight choreography, there's always some underlying score going with the fight choreography. The fight between Okoye and Atuma on the bridge, there was no music under that fight scene. That was just all like action and like them just going at it. And then at the end, when Shuri is finally taking her, her funeral garments and she's burning them on a fire, it's like that whole scene, it was just like it allowed you to sit and just be in that moment with that scene. Like there was no sound, there was like no music. It just you sat there. And I don't think that I've ever been in a theater full of people and did not hear a single sound. There was nobody coughing, there was nobody like sniffling, nobody rustling any clothing, nobody eating popcorn. When I tell you the theater that we were in was dead silent for that scene. And
it was all the silent scenes, right?
Yeah, pretty much all the silent scenes. Just everybody was so invested in that moment because it's like you're immersed in that, and I feel like they did that so well throughout the movie. They played with sound, and the music was great. And I know we had a conversation about Rihanna's song as sort of the lead title for the soundtrack, and I agree with you. I don't. It's not my favorite song, especially after we got like some of the songs from the first soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so
Rihanna, I'm gonna need you had one baby. I'm gonna need you to step your shit up. I did not like that at all. It was one child, girl. Come on, you done fell off the whole wagon.
I feel like
the first album was fire. The first album, it was all like it was just so great.
Kendrick even on the set?
I
No,
okay.
I think
One song that they've been really promoting is
Yeah,
Rihanna's because
Kendrick had
apparently the Avon lady took a break to.
not the Avon lady.
But I think
Kendrick makes
I'm
like
so irritated, I'm
albums for,
sorry.
5 years. He just made an album. He's not gonna make
And
another
this is
one.
what you dropped?
But no,
They
I
should
think
have
the thing about
timed
it
this.
Miss work. Miss, didn't I tell you I was a savage? This is the best you could do.
Because I mean, you think about the first movie and the vibe of the first movie, right? Not
Yeah.
but you think about the
I
vibe of
didn't
the
know
first
she
movie, so you get, T'Challa is accepting, his responsibility as the king, but also as a protector. So we in the first movie, it's a little bit more upbeat, right? So he's opening Wakanda to the rest of the world. He's announcing that Wakanda is going to do what it can to help, the rest of the world with some technological advances. But so you get the end of the first Black Panther, and you have, SZA and her song. And you get to the end of this movie, the last scene is Shuri, sitting there, she's burning her garments, and she's having that moment to let go of her grief. And I think that having Rihanna's song played like immediately after that, like it transitions right into Rihanna's song, that fit the vibe of what was going on in that scene. Like listening to that song outside of that aspect, I feel it's like just so out of place. It's just another ballad. It doesn't really fit. But I think combining it with that scene and then playing the song, it just seems like a fitting in theme to what what Shuri had to go through in that movie.
Well, here's what I learned. Because Disney was saying this is the last movie of Phase 4, they wanted to kind of end it like they did with Infinity War, which was leaving it very down and very, sit in this. And it was uncomfortable to sit in, at least for me it was. It was like, you're not leaving the theater feeling like, yeah, Black Panther's gonna save the day, and like you saw the text saying Black Panther will return soon. You're like, nah, leave it alone. Just go there. You ain't gotta come back. It's sad. And we don't go to the movies to be sad. We don't. It's escapism. We go to the movies to enjoy ourselves, to get totally immersed in somebody else's situation, and we were immersed and we were left feeling down. But if you remember at the end of Infinity War, you were left, well, unless you are like us and knew all these other characters that died were coming back, because again,
they got contracts.
They got contracts. You already knew Spider-Man was coming back, so the emotional weight wasn't necessarily there for people like us.
Right.
But those who don't follow the trends of what's going on, they're probably like, Michelle, are you getting emotional? Are you touching Spider-Man? Is that what's happening right now? But this movie was one of those movies. It took you on an emotional roller coaster. I had no idea they were going to kill a queen.
No.
And that's what I'm saying. To be able to tell you.
He's like, I don't care, I let it go. Bye. Bye, Ramondo.
To be able to tell these stories and still have twists that catch guys and girls off guard, man, that's a testament to your creativity and your team. Because I was right there, I'm like, y'all not about to kill a queen. Y'all not about to kill a queen. That's the queen. And then we that water. All right, here we go. We're back in this thing. Come on, queen. Come on, quick. Just come up the water, queen. Y'all not doing this CPR right. What is going on? I take it to the queen.
Stay alive. Stay alive. They weren't doing it right, man. They just weren't.
They were not. They just, first of all, I feel like as
a safety guy,
everybody in the royal whatever should know CPR. Come on, there wasn't even no good compressions going. Y'all let the queen die. This is an inside job. I think you need to check.
Wait. So,
somebody was a squirrel. Somebody was a squirrel.
So Ramondo fired Okoye, right?
Oh, here we go.
Wasn't Okoye the one that was trying to do the CPR on the queen?
She knew what she was doing. She did good. She did good. You want to fight?
ATL conspiracy! ATL conspiracy!
You want to fire me? You want to fire me?
See, no picture? All these years I had to fight. All right, that's enough.
She understood the assignment. Don't fire. Don't fire. Bitch, no. Save you. My favorite parts of the movie were all the Mesoamerican Mayan scenes with Neymar. The history was so rich. Coming from Central America, seeing my country, being of Mayan heritage, it was so well done. You know, and it was just the way he pronounced all the country's names. Like we say Haiti, but that's not the proper way to pronounce Haiti. He put respect on all these little countries and proper light. Like there aren't very. It's just like you're talking about the Mayans and how they're depicted. Like Haitians don't have the best rep.
Right.
And to see that was her safe haven for her and her son, the first Black country to be independent of colonizers, to be independent, to have a Black president voted in, a beacon for all other countries who were, you know, colonized and had slaves. It's just such a great way that he depicted that and showed that, you know, Haiti's not all bad. This is where she went for refuge with her son. And just seeing the rich culture, the way they had like all this Mayan, the sport they played, the puck or the pits, I forget what it's called, that ball game, like how this.
Basketball.
Yeah, it is, and football.
Yeah.
And so it was just so rich in culture, and it made me really feel for him, and I got a good understanding of why this thing that she created was so detrimental to the life of his people. How he created sunlight.
Yeah.
He gave light to his people underwater in depths of the ocean where your body could be crushed, you could die. He created sunlight for his people. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where like I had more feelings for him than I do for Carol Danvers. Like I feel for these people. I mean, I was there. I was like, yeah, she gotta die. This is what it we Neymar, you know, let's go get her. Like I'm with you.
You gonna kill her?
Like so much for this person. Like I really did. I could relate to him. His story wasn't so crazy. Like his mother was a part of this spiritual community. They were gonna die. They were like lepers, it looked like, and you know they took this herb, and it was just science. But I was like, okay.
Well, wasn't it they gave him smallpox, right?
Yeah.
The
colonizer gave him smallpox.
Came. And they got sick, which is true to history.
Right.
It was just well done, and it was a good little pocket for people of Mayan descent who don't get really depicted in a way, or in movies like this. Like they don't get to have a story. I thought I preferred Neymar being from a place or from people that actually exists versus this fictitious, the Submariners. You know, this fictitious place. I felt like it was really great. It was really good to do that and actually give them like a real culture that people can relate to. Yeah. So that was one of my favorite parts. I for him, like I could understand why he wanted to do this. It wasn't just irrational. It was just like, if she could find it, they could find us. That's the end of us.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, they can't live on land. There's no way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that part too. It's like we don't have another option. Like you can't breathe on land without these things. If you fucking let it all go.
How long those little things last?
Did you see what took it off? Like I'm not like I'm good. I ain't even gotta go. Y'all can leave me right here. Y'all ain't even gotta take me.
Did you see when she ripped the pro off? He was so mad.
She cut that man ankle wing like that and held it in her hands. It's like, and look at it, I was like,
yeah, I took your wing, bro.
I like wings too. Spicy. Just that was just so disrespectful. And he was looking like
A little bigger. They felt like they were they looked weird first. I guess I'm not familiar with this character, but at first I was like, maybe just 2 inches out a little more. I don't know. They were just kind of weird looking for a while.
To be 100% honest, in the comics,
every inch count
too.
Yeah.
True, I would never think. But you know what? It reminds me of what's the guy that the Greek guy that had like Hermes. There you go. So I call Hermes vibes without the shoes because they just come out as angels. It's weird as shit. But then again, so is archangels from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Because he has no armor. He just got wings and until Apocalypse gets.
He was definitely a character I could relate to and feel for.
Yeah.
There was urgency. Like I felt that in the movie. Like, yeah, this could be an issue, you know?
Now Ryan's doing the Disney Dora Milaje series, right? Ryan Coogler's doing the series.
I think
do we know that?
Anything Disney Plus that's associated with Wakanda, Ryan Coogler is heading up those projects.
As he should.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
He is good at pairing culture, like Keisha was saying. He's good at pairing culture to characters. And I would love to see where else he would go and how else he would bring another culture into the fabric of the MCU. Because it's grounding them with culture and grounding them with real motivations that stands his characters out versus somebody like the leader or somebody like Aaron Cross or Yellow Jacket or, just these generic villains, Malekith from Thor the Dark World. It's not just, I want to take over just for the sake of taking over. Like Keisha was saying, just like, I'm protecting my people. Like he did with Killmonger. I'm trying to liberate my people because, y'all sitting here at the top of the mountain, living good, eating good, when they got billions of us just oppressed around the world. So you get these relatable motivations, just makes a better story. Yeah. You know how we talk about story here on All Things Super.
We talk about inclusivity. I think he understands it very well.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fruit devastation type of situation.
Yeah. Sorry, I went off on a rant.
No, you were saying how you felt. What was your favorite part? Michelle, what was your favorite part of the movie?
All of it, except that one bed credit scene. I did like, because there were a couple Easter eggs I saw in there. Like, there's definitely the one when I know Terrell didn't see it. I had to point it out to him, but whenever they had like the CNN news stories pop up, they have little stories going across the bottom like you would normally see on a news thing. And the first one was talking about, it was like Scott Lang is on a book tour for his Look Out for the Little Guy book kind of thing. And I was like, I like it. I tossed it in the couple. Like the second one, I think you saw it. It was like about Asgard or whatever.
Yeah, the second one when they were saying that, because the first one was a news report with Anderson Cooper talking about how T'Challa had died. The second one was the news report with Anderson Cooper saying Queen Ramonda had died. And I didn't get to see the whole thing, but on the second one, it did say that there were some new deals being brokered with New Asgard. So whatever, and this is like just little bits of lore, because we saw, again, just to tie everything together, we saw in Ms. Marvel, one of the first things we saw in the first episode was Kamala making a YouTube video talking about what happened in Avengers. And the reason that she knows all of this, because Scott Lang went on a podcast, he had his book, and he's been basically telling everybody, the story of what happened. And so that's a good way to explain to the audience, like, how would the rest of the world know what happened with Thanos? Because
when they wasn't there.
Right, when they weren't there. Because you think about it, if you had somebody in China, right? they're just minding their business. They have no idea what's going on. There are no Infinity Stones in China. There are no superheroes in China. They're just minding their business.
Hey! Don't you talk about Shang-Chi like that, Shang-Chi like that.
Shang-Chi was in San Francisco. He was not.
He was in Tai Lo. Tai Lo is located where?
Not in China.
Shang-Chi.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is to say that when the snap happened, there were a huge portion of the population on Earth that, and not even on Earth because this was half the population of the universe, but there was a huge population of people that just got dusted away, and people who were there have no idea what happened. Right, because unless you got some type of information from somewhere else, because you think about the world leaders, right? They congregate at the UN after all of this has happened. What are they going to talk about? How can they explain
the ones that's left?
The ones that's left. How can they explain all of this stuff that just happened? How can they explain how? And how long would it have taken them to realize that it's half the Earth's population, half the population of the universe that's dusted away for some strange reason?
You would never got that information if it wasn't for Scott.
Right. So that's a good way for the general public, us, the watchers of these movies, to understand how somebody else in the MCU universe would know not only what happened with Thanos, but now know who all these superheroes are. Because you think about it, in Ant-Man, he wasn't a globally known superhero. He's
still barely known.
Right, he's still
called Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. But so he basically, in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, everything he did was centralized in San Francisco. Because it was when Tony went to the raft in Civil War, and he knew Hawkeye, he knew Falcon, and he got up to Ant-Man, and Scott was like, "I'll never forgive you for what you did," and Tony was like, "I'm sorry," and you are. He was like, "Come on, man, I'm Ant-Man." It's like I don't know. It is like even another Avenger who Tony is one of the smartest people on the planet doesn't know who you are. And so now the world is more familiar with all of these superheroes, all of the Avengers, everybody that came together. And the thing about it is, it's like they kind of only really know what Scott knows. Because you look at everybody that came at the end of Endgame for the big fight, the Portals fight, you had just about every single hero that had been introduced in the MCU at this point.
But none with a podcast.
I don't think that Scott took the time to sit down with each and every one of them to get a roster of who was there and who wasn't. To tell.
No.
But it's just those little things. Like I said, you can't watch an MCU movie at this point and not expect there to not be details about the bigger universe. It's all connected. Everything is going to look something else.
I think they did a great job at self-containing this one. I don't feel like, and even though it's a lot of setup for a lot of stuff, it's a lot of setup for the Wakanda spinoffs, the Ironheart spinoff, the Thunderbolt spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what other spinoff they're linking to it. I'm pretty sure Kane's in there somewhere. He's done something to do something about something. But I felt as though it was pretty self-contained. I don't think it's just so goddamn sad. It's just so sad. It's just like Michelle said, she cried. Like Keisha said, she cried. And I didn't cry, but I could feel one of those, single tears tearing up. It didn't drop, but it was like, y'all go really kill a queen? Y'all just go kill a queen? We still mourning. We still mourning show.
I didn't care about the damn queen. She could have died.
Damn! The queen is old. What's up? Michelle, did you hear the queen die?
No, I it was the tributes to Chadwick and all that.
Wow, y'all really don't. Let me
I was like, they took the
it.
queen. That sucks. But like,
when did she become the Black Panther? Come on, let's get to it.
But it's like what I was saying when
Come
when
Yeah,
we
when it
did-
tried to killing Baku, when Mbaku got that fist to the chest, I was like, oh shit, don't kill him off. I would have cried then.
First of all,
Yes.
Mbaku got when he got punched, I thought he was sure done then.
He's dead.
You gonna kill him? Like, no, I was more worried about him than the queen dying. Like, I could care less.
Mbaku doesn't have any heart-shaped herbs in him, right? So there's no real reason that he could have survived. Should have survived that, right? He should have.
He's just a big dude.
So he lost his stick and his body armor.
It's like a little turtly shell.
He got
So
another-
I was like, oh,
He got another one.
it's a little turtle shell.
Is that the same stick that Boba Fett was using?
No, it's a different one.
Close to it, okay.
Boba Fett had a spike at the end of his, and then M'Baku was
Yeah. It was a musket.
around plug.
Yeah.
Hey man, nobody trying to get spiked out like that, man. You know.
But no, it's like when we did
He's
our
one of my
review
favorite characters.
when we did our review for Spider-Man No Way Home, and we talked about how
We are crossing universes today.
like I said, we're talking about the MCU.
I mean, you gotta say MJ and Riri are MIT at the same time, so we are crossing universes there.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second because you look a little bit lost. But just like we were talking about in Spider-Man No Way Home, the impact of having Aunt May die and how hard that hit everybody because nobody expected Aunt May to die. But we had all of these movies to sit with Aunt May. We got to know Aunt May. We got to learn Aunt May. We got to love Aunt May. We got to see who Aunt May was and what she stood for. Whereas with Queen Ramonda, we got to see her a little bit in the first Black Panther. She didn't really say much. She didn't really do much. And then in this one, she had a speech. You know, she had some emotion. Yes, we know that how you felt about when Shuri got taken. No, I mean, it's like we said, we can understand your emotion, we can understand your grief because you have lost your family. And it's the same way with Shuri. We understand your grief. You've lost everyone that you've loved. And so we understand it's like, even though it was the same kind of parallel, it made more sense for Shuri to act out in that aggression and want to kill Namor and the path that she went down versus Ramonda taking it out on Okoye because it's like, you can't sit there. Okoye's been general for whoever knows how many years. And you can't just think that she willingly allowed Shuri to get taken. Like, she didn't fight with everything that she had in order to protect Shuri. Like, you can't just discount everything that Okoye has done. So her being upset and taking it out on Okoye versus Shuri being upset and be like, I'm about to snap Namor's neck and nobody gonna stop me.
This herb, I'm about to fix this right now.
But it's just different. But it's just with Ramonda, we didn't get to spend time with her to be connected to her enough to where when she died, for us to feel that pain the way we felt the pain when Aunt May got killed. You know, it's just a different level of connection. And so that's what brought out that emotion for Aunt May, but it didn't bring out that emotion for Ramonda.
I ain't crying for Aunt May.
Well, then you are in
I did. In Spider-Man, I cried for Aunt May.
I told Spider-Man.
I cried big tears for Aunt May. I love Marissa Tomei's Aunt May.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her character.
It was like the perfect age. It was just everything about like how you would think Aunt May would be for a teenage boy. She played it very well. Her relationship with Happy, it was just awesome. They did a great job. So when she died, I cried.
Yeah.
When Angela Bassett died, I was like, oh, thank God. Can we just move on now?
Oh, wow.
See, I wasn't but I was just like,
Please.
okay, she died. It sucks, but like.
Okay, so this is what we doing?
But yeah.
Hey, what did you guys? Go ahead.
No, I
Sorry.
was just gonna say to circle back on what Michelle was saying. So this is taking place what I'm assuming because we didn't really get like a year on a timestamp. We got locations, but we didn't get a year. But we know that at some point after T'Challa got back from being blipped. So we know that in No Way Home, not even in No Way Home, in Far From Home, during summer. At some point during the summer, that's when Peter, MJ, Ned, Betty, they all went to their trip across Europe, right? And this was
Right.
after the blip because we know that Brad was a freshman when they got blipped, and now he was a senior when they got back, or going to be a senior when they got back. So he aged up. So we know that this is going into their senior year in Far From Home after the blip.
Wait a minute.
What?
He's a senior. He's a freshman. The blip happened. Now he's a senior.
Well, he was.
Did he fail?
It might have.
Did Brad fail a grade?
Let's put it this way. I don't know if the school that they were in was like from 8th grade to, or if it had middle school included. All I know is that they showed a picture of young Brad, and then they had a picture of old Brad, and Brad was on the trip with all the rest of them, and they were going to be.
You bringing up plot points and holes. This is what's going on. I don't know if that was intentional.
Regardless, Far From Home happened after the blip. And so we get into No Way Home, which is the beginning of the senior year for Peter, Ned, and MJ. No Way Home ends. MJ and Ned get their acceptance letters into MIT.
They're going to college, yeah.
Right. So, Wakanda Forever, we know that at some point after the blip, T'Challa got sick. And this was, who knows, because we didn't get to see them after, Endgame. After the end of Endgame, we don't know what happened. So T'Challa got sick, T'Challa passes away. Here we have a year later. This was because, Ramondo told Shuri this was the anniversary of T'Challa's passing. And so they went on a little camping trip, and that's when Namor found him and everything. But so this is a year later. So if we're running parallel to what happened in No Way Home, then this will be about a year later after MJ has graduated and is in MIT. So she should be 18, 19 at this point. Riri is 19 at MIT. Now, we do know that Riri was a child prodigy, so we don't know if she got into college at an early age, so she might be, at an advanced level. But in any regard, they're both at MIT at the same time. And Ned's there too. I can't believe I went Ned's there.
I was just about to ask why you ain't say Ned was there. Ned should be there too. I'm pretty sure Ned's cheating off that paper just like anybody else would with a friend. What you got for 73?
Ned is intelligent. Ned got into MIT on his own merits.
Why you think that I would say he was cheating off his friend paper? Because that's what intelligent people do. Why should I think of the answer if you got the answer? Is that so? Well, clearly the intelligentsia told you right.
Listen.
So here's the question. What did you guys think of the new suit?
I felt like
okay.
No, what I was going to say is that it seemed appropriate because they didn't have a suit before, because she had not been interested in being a protector before. She had all pretty much been given up on recreating the heart-shaped herb, because after T'Challa passed, she said, I tried to recreate it and it didn't work, so she just gave up on it. She said Black Panther is gone, there's no protector, there doesn't need to be a Black Panther, always and everything. So after seeing Killmonger in the ancestral plane, I think that she knows he had the gold trimmed suit. So I think that kind of inspired her. She had, she had her dots and everything, so she added her own little flair. But I think Killmonger inspired the gold accents on the suit. So I think that was a nice combination of her and I'll say her as in Shuri, but it's also kind of mixing T'Challa in there as well. But she's both her brother and Killmonger. So it's like a combination of both. So I like the suit. I like the fact that she incorporated her. I like the fact that she incorporated like her Panther blasters in them too, and we saw that they malfunctioned when she got to the desert, so she had to like shoot them off. And it not to compare everything in the MCU to Iron Man, but it did seem like an Iron Man type thing when one of your pieces kind of malfunction. It's just an accessory to the suit, so you could just discard it and then move on and still keep going and everything. But all in all, I like the design of the suit. I thought it was nice. The only thing, like I said before, I didn't like was some of the CG fighting while she was in the suit. But I liked it.
What you thought about the suit?
She was a little too skinny.
Oh.
So,
well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Letitia Wright is pretty thin.
Yeah, and so it wasn't very, I don't know. The suit wasn't bad. But I felt like when she was on the beach, I was like, damn, she's skinny. I kept focusing on how thin she was. And I'm like, how are you protecting anybody?
Hey, here's something that's
You saw a bunch of men through the wall. I mean, feel like
More focused on, which is, I know, so not very feminist, but I like the suit in general.
Here's the
I
thing,
do
though.
like the gold aspects of it. And I'm glad you said that, because it's like, yeah, it is a combination of Killmonger, and it was really a good touch because that's who she saw in the ancestral plane, and I felt like that was a great little touch and reminder. Because, you know, there was a moment I forgot they were related until he showed up, and I was like, oh, yeah, that is
what up,
he belongs here. he could be here.
Here's the thing, though. The camera adds 30 pounds, so imagine how thin she is in real life.
Is it?
Michelle, what you thought about the suit? I'm throwing numbers out there.
No, I liked it as well. Like,
I'm trying to explain why I look this thick. So the camera adds 60.
I just want y'all to know I'm fatter in real life.
It's actually 90. I downed it. I downed it to try to conserve. So if you see me looking at the 120, just know it's the camera. You know.
Covering up.
No,
That's what I should do. I need to get an all things super
when you
hoodie.
see me in just know I'm a little fluffier in real life. Okay.
Yeah, what you thought about the suit? Or the reveal of the suit?
no, I liked it. Like Spider would say, like I like how they kind of intertwined like all the suits and like designs together. Because like you see the resemblance in the helmet. Like I saw the resemblance to T'Challa's helmet. Like there's a resemblance there, and then of course like, the gold trim, and then but you could also see that she kind of added her own little flair to it as well. So I did like how they kind of just like meshed it all into one suit and made it work. And honestly, yeah, she did look. It made her look skinnier than she actually is. Not it's like
Yes.
like she is a skinny person, but the suit itself, it slimmed her down even more, and it was just kind of like. Honestly, she kind of looked like a stick person in some parts. I'm like, I'm not body shaming or anything, but they're like CGI.
I would like my protector to have a little more meat on her bones if I had a preference. That's all.
I know it's strong, but it's like I think it was also the CGI was also just making it look more like stick person-ish, like one of those like little bendy toys used to have. You could bend the arms and all that. Like it kind of looks more like one of those things than just like an actual person in a suit.
See, y'all trying to make me out to be the bad person here, but see, that's what I was thinking. But I didn't say it. I thought it. You said it. We're good.
Yeah, I'm coming for you. We'll go see who. No.
I like my heroes a little on the thicker side. A little thick. But that's just me. You know, y'all go ahead and keep your
You're waiting out the hero. What Leia say? You kind of short me a stormtrooper.
Okay.
Like I'm not trying to be kids for body shaming or anything, but like and there's no problem being skinny. It was just the way the suit looked and the way the CGI was.
Look, yes,
I'm trying to order one of them
they should have CGI like a little booty, a little more muscle mass. I don't know.
And
I do like this. I will say this. I do like the way they framed her in like almost every other shot. Because Letitia Wright is a grown-ass adult, they did frame her to make her look very kind of young. They kind of kept it like right here. And I don't know if y'all can see what, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Is she supposed to be a teenager?
No, she's in her 20s because
she's in her 20s. Yeah, she was a teenager at the first movie, right?
Yeah.
But in real life, he's not.
Oh, no, in real life, she's a grown woman.
In real life, she might be.
Because in one of the shots, remember, Frankie, we were talking about this, she looks so much older.
In a funeral shot,
In a funeral shot. But when they put stressed out look, she looked stressed out at T'Challa's. Like she was going through it. It aged her up a bit. And then throughout the movie, she kind of looked different. But even at her mom's funeral, she was over her mama too. She was over her mama too. She did not have the same energy at her brother's funeral, at her mom's funeral. She didn't even invite people to her. She didn't even invite people, no invitation to the house. There was no repast, no wait, there was nothing. Look
In
here.
their defense, they had just got flooded. So I think I got a lot of stuff going on.
Then Armand, the queen.
Then the queen, you know, there was a small little. I remember M'Baku was dressed in white with his little panther prints, gorilla markings on his face. So it was a smaller, more
For the
intimate.
queen.
Well, again, my house got like
protocols.
Flooded.
it's like
Pipes got busted and y'all couldn't make it to the funeral.
it's like
I got you.
it's like Katrina in Wakanda, so you can understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about the most dangerous MacGuffin that was in there? Well, I guess I could call it MacGuffin, but these water bombs.
Yeah.
The water grenades were pretty badass.
Those water grenades were.
Would have conceptualized a water grenade, because normally you think of grenade, you think of something with an explosive force, but a lot of people don't realize how destructive a huge force of water can be, and that's
you can't control that
genius. Because what do you in Talokan? What do you have? Like, what's your most abundant resource? Like, yeah, you have a whole bunch of vibranium.
But now they get Starburst energy from these water grenades?
No. It was gushers.
Gushers.
Not Starburst.
Gushers.
There
you go.
They're even shaped like gushers.
They do look like. Watch out, Disney. That lawsuit's coming.
But yeah, it's like the one thing that you have an abundance of in Talokan is water. You're underwater. That's something that you cannot run out of. So how do you harness that and make weapons outside of your vibranium weapons? I thought the water grenades were absolutely just a genius idea.
You know how funny it was that, not funny, but it was very interesting to see their reaction. It was like their first time fighting somebody that had full vibranium armor.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
every time they hit one of these guys, they were in shock. Like, oh,
This is not supposed to happen.
No,
he's supposed to
the
die.
shock that Okoye saw when she was like, I'm pretty sure that I killed all three of them.
I
And they
unalived
got
all
up
of
and
them.
just walked off. And Okoye was like, what the hell?
What the hell? Like,
Yeah,
that was like,
Like,
No,
why
we
is that
didn't.
happening?
like, it was real. They've never really gone against, besides the few little pieces of vibranium that out, they've never had a full-on fight with someone that had weapons that matched their weapons.
Well, let's just go ahead and keep it 100. If we really gonna talk about this, we kind of got their ass whooped.
They did.
Even on the boat.
They did.
It was the last stance. It was like they started with all this.
If they mama sure, they were about to be unalived on that boat.
It was done.
They were saying by their mama.
They were still coming on time. She showed up.
Wakanda was not forever.
No. But even like when they were all on top of the boat, the first thing that Namor did was take down one of the planes and hit the top of the boat. You had like 20 people get blasted off the back of it. That's a 50-year-old your little army going, right?
The fact that scared me and why I respect Neymar and why I was on his side, this man got into your country undetected.
By itself. Didn't he?
By himself. Look.
Just
if
swam out like.
fear was not instilled in you, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. But I was like, I'm on his
Past
side.
the enemy.
Whatever he fights, I'm on the
They
shit
put the
because
border
he-
tribe right there. Border tribe. I mean, the river tribe was like
we don't know.
Sleep on dude.
Like, who? T'Challa would never. This would have never happened on his watch. His mama to drop the ball. Oh my God, it was just a mess. But I was just like, that was what instilled real fear in me. This is an impenetrable country. This man swam up, pulled up on you.
Like you having a little
Like, he was
campfire trip with your
like,
dog. Right. You having a little camping trip and this dude just pop up out of the water. But not only did he
Like,
pop out of the water, he pop out of the water and start making demands.
Uh-huh.
Like, who
And you thought that it was a good idea. Girl, this is how I know you were gonna die. 'Cause first of all, first of all, I was afraid for my life and I was not even in Wakanda at the time. And I was very
that's one of the things that a lot of people have complaints about when it comes to not only the MCU movies but the MCU shows, is that what are the stakes? You know, what's at risk here? What's the danger? Because we know if we're going through a She-Hulk series, like what's the danger? What's the risk? What's the, what is it that we should be afraid of? And Mr. VIP Frank Washington and I, we talk about, sky beams. You have that big hole in the sky, then obviously this is a planetary threat. This is something to be afraid of. That is the risk. That is, something that is, that's we have to be afraid of it because we don't know what's going to happen if this thing is allowed to succeed. And we've gotten a lot of properties in the MCU lately that doesn't really have those big implications. But it's like, I feel like what creates great films is when you don't know what's going to happen, because not a lot of people are familiar with Namor. They're not familiar with his skill set, with his abilities. And I feel like Wakanda Forever showcased that fantastically. Like him being able to access Wakanda just from any body of water, no matter how, he
man was with the shits, okay?
He can come from wherever, infiltrate the country. But not only that, we saw him just bringing, orcas into the river. Just bringing whales into the river in Baltimore.
Jump out the whale back like what? We here. Tyler can. We here. What?
And the thing
and we got water grenades.
Right. And it's just, you don't know. You're watching the movie and you're filled with suspense. You're on the edge of your seat because you're like, there is a very, and it was the same thing with, the first Black Panther. After Killmonger threw T'Challa off the side of the waterfall, we were like,
so disrespectful.
We were like, well, we see that for the first time. We was like, wait, hold up, how do you even do that? T'Challa did.
Like, he is the main character. What are you doing?
Like, where is this story going now? Because T'Challa just died, and now Killmonger is the king. So we don't know what's going to happen now. And it's the same thing with this one. It's like Namor came to Wakanda, killed your queen, didn't bat an eye. And it's like, you have 1 week. If not, we're going to come back and we're going to burn this bitch down because we're going to have our way and nobody's going to stop us. And at that point, you're like, who can stop him? And like, what's going to be able to stop him? And even,
no goddamn body.
we get the whole, transformation of Shuri becoming a new Black Panther, and she has this rage and this aggression. But we know, anybody who's watched any type of action movie, they know you go into a fight without a level head. You go into a fight just looking for pure revenge. It's going to get the better of you, and at the end of the day, you're going to get beat. And we saw that, even when they caught Namor and they were taking him to the desert and they captured him in the ship and they were trying to dry him out, he still had his weapon with him. He started destroying the ship from the inside. It's like you don't give this guy enough credit. And then still you get onto the boat, you get onto the island, the desert or whatever. And I know one of the biggest complaints that a lot of content creators that I saw leading up to the movie was like, oh, well, how is Shuri going to be, the new Black Panther? Shuri's never trained. She's never fought. She doesn't have the skills like T'Challa was, an expert at all these different styles of fighting. And,
she was. Didn't.
Right, and that's the main thing. We don't know that Shuri never trained. But even had she trained, even if she was skilled in, hand-to-hand combat and all this other kind of stuff, she has enhanced strength from the heart-shaped herb. Namor still was kicking her ass. I mean, she got some.
This is true. Wakanda was losing. Wakanda lost. Had
she not just out of a pure act of desperation pulled herself off that spear, she was gonna die on that beach. And that was going to be.
Well, not really, because that blood really don't come leaking out. You know what I'm saying? The blood coagulates really fast, so much that you would think she's immortal.
You would, but she's not. But
she not.
But
she was on that spirit having real life decisions. Like my brother was here.
And that was another scene where, like we said before, thank God that they didn't, CGI Chadwick in. They didn't, do like a voice modulation where they took like his parts of speech and recreated him saying something to Shuri.
I was expecting that. I was honestly expecting that. So that's what I'm
glad that they didn't. But then I also feel like at the same time, Ramonda showing up at that point in time, it just felt like that was a little forced, because the whole line, show him who you are, was the same thing that she told T'Challa, back when he was fighting M'Baku. But it's like,
hey, I will say this: it was better than that Halle Berry line in X-Men.
What about the what happens when a frog?
Yes. For those who don't know, we're referring to Halle Berry had a line in X-Men where she says, the original, she said, do you know what happened when electricity hits a frog? The same thing that happens to everything else. Oh. Exactly my point. It wasn't a hot line. So I think this line was better than that. At least you got a reference and a callback to,
I just felt like if you were gonna bring Ramonda back to say something powerful or something poignant to Shuri, I think it should.
What else could she say?
I think it should be something different. And it's just like something. Even if they would have, if she would have had a line earlier in the movie.
You want to know what a Rob Schneider? You could do it.
You just say, "Get me out this movie. Get me out this movie now. I'm done." Use something I used back then and spruce it up.
Because I feel like they could use the line that Ramonda said to Shuri early in the movie, and Shuri kind of just brushed it off, like ignored it, like she was.
Which line was this?
No, I'm saying if they would have had a line early, and then it would have been a callback at the end of the movie, because Shuri just is so wrapped up in what she was doing, she's not paying attention to what her mom is saying.
Yeah,
I feel like going to somebody's T-ball game, like T-ball Little League game, and say,
show them who you are.
Like there were other aspects of Shuri and Neymar relationship, or how they are about their people, that would have been way more profound than their mothers.
You thought they would go side date?
You know what I mean? They are both trying to be protectors of these two domains that they're now sovereign over. Not by any choice, not by anything, like this is just their responsibility. Now, there's so many other aspects than the mother aspect that I felt that would have been so much more relatable.
Yeah,
like she herself would have had just a nice one-liner to him that would have provoked him or invoked some type of,
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, something like I just feel like they were too relatable.
Why'd you say
they were exactly the same people. One was on land and one was in the ocean. So.
Yeah.
So you saying Namor shouldn't have seen his mother when?
No, I'm just saying like he was saying that the Angela Bassett line was just the Queen's line was just set forth, and I'm just saying there were other aspects of their relationship. Well, not relationship, but other aspects of their lives that were very relatable. That she herself could have said something to him to invoke the same reaction.
Yeah,
for our people, for whatever, yeah, like you leave, whatever. But there was no reason for their mothers to show up. Like it didn't make sense. It would have still been more believable.
You should say that at the part where we talked about what you didn't like.
Oh, that's my attention. I didn't. And now when I think about it, he's right.
Oh, it's all right. She could not like it all day. Nah, I don't like it either. I don't like that shit. I didn't have that in there. You know what I mean?
I didn't think about that, but he's right. It seemed like it was just a little forced. You got that he lost his mother when he was young. You got that part, and she just recently lost his mother. But there were that they could relate on.
I don't think they should have showed her at all. Because if you wasn't in the ancestral plane, why are you talking now? Like, what were you when I needed? You know what? I'm starting to feel like Keisha now. Like, you're not queening. You're not. It's like, where were you when I needed you? Justin Bieber.
Okoye did us a favor, okay? Look.
See, Okoye is Disney Plus. So I think we got to the point now that we have to ask the question. Michelle, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Was it super?
It was definitely super. No question about that.
Oh, even with all its flaws?
Even with it wasn't that many flaws, but yeah, well,
Really?
even with some flaws, like, that's expected in any movie, really. Like, no movie's gonna be perfect. But Black Panther Wakanda Forever
All
was
dogs go
super.
to heaven with perfect.
What?
All dogs go to heaven with perfect.
It really was.
Now that's a movie you go cry on. Keisha! Wakanda Forever! Keisha already said Wakanda Forever wasn't forever. That's all that was.
Just like the Age of Ultron on the last of the week.
They was getting their ass whooped on that goddamn boat. Goddamn. Why would y'all go in the middle of the ocean to fight and y'all...
People that get struck from the ocean.
Make it make sense. Keisha was Wakanda Forever. Super.
All right, before I answer this question, I just want to say, be careful because it's your own people.
Oh, wow.
It be your own people.
Wow.
But it was super sad. But it was super. Yes. If you watch it, it will be your final goodbye, and it gets really sad. And especially the part where she actually ends her mourning. It was, for me, it felt like it was like that ending mourning of losing Chadwick Boseman. It was but it was super. Except for the Queen.
Except for the Queen. Take the Queen out. Perfect movie.
Take the Queen. We didn't even need her, to be honest.
That UN speech was hard. She did go hard on that UN speech. Y'all can't.
She had a ghostwriter.
She had a ghostwriter.
She is the queen. She not writing her own bars. She is drinking his own bars.
You know what? That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You know what? Respect everything you said. Spider. The people want to know. The people know. Wakanda. Right over left. Black Panther.
You look like you're about to punch yourself in the face.
I did.
Like Namor was whooping on.
Namor beat the brakes off a Shuri.
Got the knock off.
Like a dog.
That shit.
Clearly, down there are no gender norms.
I ain't ready to hit a woman.
This was Scott teaching down. Just go ahead and
can get the smoke. Okay.
Oh, wow. So, Spider, you condoning this domestic violence?
Don't start that. Don't start that. No, I do not condone domestic violence. This was a fight between two superpowered individuals. It's not a domestic dispute.
That's why I'm on the sideline, because I can't do none of that. Was it super?
Absolutely.
Besides the CGI? Okay.
Yeah, besides the CGI, like Michelle said, there's going to be problems, there are going to be flaws in every single movie. It's not limited to MCU, it's not limited to DC, Warner Brothers, whoever. There's going to be flaws. Every single movie that we've reviewed on this podcast, we've picked apart. There's not been a perfect movie. We've not come out of any movie and said this movie has no problems, no flaws. So there's going to be flaws. But at the end of the day, the story that was written, the scenes that were shot, the emotions that Ryan Coogler and his team were able to derive from us in not only, like I said before, not only memorializing Chadwick's legacy as T'Challa, as Black Panther, but as a person himself. You know, and it's like he didn't even have to really dive deep into it, right? So we had the introduction where T'Challa's sick, T'Challa passes, and we linger on, you know, we have the funeral scene, Shuri's grieving, but the rest of the aspect of the story, it takes us away from grieving T'Challa, but his legacy still lives on in the movie without having to speak about his legacy. And I think that's something that can't go, understated, because it takes a very unique level of, I guess, storytelling to be able to have presence throughout the film, but without directly referencing that presence of that person. Like, you could feel T'Challa throughout everything, because even though we are not referencing T'Challa, we're not talking about T'Challa, we're not even mentioning T'Challa's name, we could still feel his presence, feel his influence on what's going on throughout the film. Like, a lot of the decisions that these characters are making, we know that they're making it because of the influence that T'Challa had on his people in Wakanda. And I feel like them being able to tell that story and being able to continue this story of Wakanda. And like we said, we have Black Panther will return soon. We have the Okoye series, we have the Dora Milaje series, and all the other Wakanda spinoffs. So this story is going to continue, and it's all going to continue in Chadwick's name almost. It's just being able to just encapsulate all of that stuff into this film, and to be able to allow us as an audience to grieve at the same time as these characters who were related and connected to T'Challa, allowing them to grieve in the film. And it's just like Keisha was saying, having Shuri burn her garments at the end of the movie was like, that was that final goodbye. That was sort of not Ryan Coogler like telling us that we need to move on, it's like we have to move on, but sort of giving us like it's okay to move on. We're honoring what Chadwick did, we're honoring his legacy, and so now we can allow him to rest. Like, because this was the big thing that was hanging over after he passed, was what's going to happen with Black Panther, because this is probably one of his, most famous roles out of everything that he did. This is one of the things that he became most known for. So after he passed, it was like his last thing that was left unfinished. So now that we've completed this film, it's like, it's okay to move on. It's okay to let go, because now we've sort of completed this whole like kind of circle. But all of that, and we haven't even touched on the humor of the film. We talked about how sad it was, but it wasn't just all sad, because they like Keisha was saying before, Riri just going after Okoye, talking about all the makeup she had on her head.
On her head with your adjective.
She was like,
Baku calling Milmar Fishman.
After she had just talked about her head, and she was sensitive about how I was looking.
Like, I told you wrong makeup is
very
too
good
light.
humor.
But yeah, they had.
It's like, I told you.
They had a lot of good humor. It was the dialogue.
Riri was hilarious.
Riri was hilarious.
She was like,
and that's why she was necessary, because she was the comic relief out of all this sadness. And the other stuff that was going on, well, again, was you need a B story to take you away from the A story. Now you have a C story too. And like you were saying earlier, Spider, there were so many reveals in this. Well, Val showing up, knowing that she's the director of the CIA now, so she's working with the government on an official, if she's telling the truth, but clearly she is, because she got what's we call it, arrested. What's his name? Ross arrested.
But
then to find out they were married.
Yeah, Michelle said they were married. Like, when they literally, like me talking about the silence in the theater, when they were in the car and Val was like, yeah, there's some things I want to apologize for when we were married. I audibly was in the theater. I was like, what?
Touching my pearls. Like, what?
On the theater too. They were like, what the
Yeah, like, huh?
It was like,
not my good Ross.
And she was still flirting. She was
showed up at the man's house, just in his kitchen.
Yep.
Just in his kitchen. But the thing about it is, like you said, it's so hard when you have people like us who watch these films. They were dissecting every trailer, we're dissecting all the previews, we're trying to figure out who's going to be in it, what are they going to do, and to be able to just throw something like this just kind of in there, even though it's kind of inconsequential to the overall story, but that's just a little tidbit that you just throw in there, and it still just surprises everybody. It's like, that's not something that we were expecting.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. How much is going to play a part later on?
Right.
Still yet to be seen.
The lesson I learned is that if your queen is going to send you on a deadly mission when she knows you have a son that you would leave behind, just tell her no. Just tell her no. Just tell her no. Okay? Just tell her no. That's my little tidbit.
In the Queen's defense, they didn't think it was going to get that crazy. In fact, why didn't Namor send these goons anyway? Because I mean, they told him to go, we need you to go and get this girl so we can kill her. Why are we going to send other people to go kill her anyway?
Because Namor is smart. Namor knew that they weren't going to bring that scientist to them.
Yeah.
So he had
So
what he said.
Did they not know what the scientist was? So we're following them to see what he had to ride the orca to jump out the river.
If we were anything, it's an orca, baby. Look here.
Nissan.
Like a Lambo.
Well, that's the only one that I think it was orca on.
Whatever.
But Mr.
It was like
VIP
Lambo, you know. It wasn't a Prius,
No,
okay?
it wasn't a Prius. Not at all. But Mr. VIP Frank in Washington, Wakanda Forever, is it super?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Ryan Coogler and his team has successfully done it again, which is very shocking to say because usually sequels have a tendency to go downhill, never living up to the original. I don't think that's the case on this situation. I think we have a very strong follow-up with everything that's happened. And I've said this, I don't think it could have happened any other way. I think they took the time, did the homework, linked the anti, because Namor is an anti-hero, anti-villain, with a compelling enough story that makes enough sense that you, like Keisha said, I sympathize with him because I understand what he's trying to protect. And he's not bothering anybody. We're down here in the depths by ourselves. Y'all came down here looking for something that your brother did. There's no reason that y'all should expose yourself. Y'all expose yourself, y'all really expose all of us, which I can't allow to happen. So here's what I'm going to need you to do. I need you to go get this chick or guy or girl, because at that point he didn't know, that made this machine and go ahead and take care of it. Now, they were like, well, she can stay in Wakanda with us. No. That she built this, she can build it again. So I'm going to need y'all to go ahead on and offer. And of course, now we got a conflict. It's like, I'm not about to stand by and let you just kill a kid unknowingly, or even what they did. You know, it's like screwed up. So now we got a conflict. And again, Namor wasn't backing down. He knew he had an army. And everything that came out of the ocean, I don't think we saw half of it. No. And that's exactly why. And here's the thing.
The only reason we didn't see any more people coming out of the ocean, because they all wouldn't have fit on that boat. That's the only reason.
They didn't need them, right? They're underwater repopulating. And I don't know if they're giving out these squid.
There's no TV.
Hey, man, they all got that little hole on the side of the wall. You can only throw the ball through there so many times. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at these gills and I'm thinking to myself, she can get it. Oh, they swim my way. Don't look good. I think the movie is, without a shadow of a doubt, super. I am interested in what they're going to do for Black Panther 3. Will we see an aged up T'Challa? Will we still see Shuri taking over as Black Panther, M'Baku as king? What does that look like? Again, it may sound selfish that Marvel decided to give T'Challa a son and name him T'Challa. I kind of knew there was going to be a T'Challa in the MCU. Whether it was going to be coming from another different multiverse or what the situation was going to come about. It's just too much story to tell with Black Panther. And now they don't skip a beat. It's kind of like how they did with Spider-Man. everything that happened before Spider-Man was kind of like the Spider-Man origin story, and now they did like a soft reboot because they know Spider-Man, and somewhere along the line, hopefully him and MJ find their way back together again, which is the underlying story of that. You know this T'Challa is going to grow up and become the Black Panther.
So
You're just waiting for it.
Let me ask you this.
Is he going to join the Young Avengers? I don't know. Probably. More than likely, I would.
Do you prefer this way that they introduced a new T'Challa, or would you have preferred that it be a variant from a different universe? So that way you can.
I'd rather it be this way. Listen, I think everybody that's a Black Panther fan is really waiting for two things to happen. One, for him to kick ass, and then two, for him to marry Storm. That's it. I take that back. Take down the Fantastic Four. Because if you think about it, if he takes down the Fantastic Four now, like he did in the comic books, it's understandable, it's justifiable. Because, like, who are these guys? Let me go see how much they can fight. And then he recruits them for whatever reason that he did in the comic books, or whatever reason Marvel decides to antagonize that story. But we now get more. I don't know who they're going to cast in the future to play him, but clearly there will be a recasting if they want to age him up. And even if they let him join the Young Avengers and then age him up, somewhere along the line he's coming back to Wakanda to claim the title as Black Panther and King. Who's going to stand there and be in his way? But when that time comes, we're talking comics. It could be Killmonger when about time, this happens. But was the movie super? Yes. And I would love to see where they go with it. I don't regret nothing about it except them killing the queen.
Look at Keisha just gave you.
You stressing me out.
She don't like royalty. That's all that is.
No, I don't like stupidity.
Down to the minor.
She don't like stupidity.
She's not the smartest queen.
Hey, by the way, I downloaded that Rihanna song to your playlist.
You just don't love me. If you hate me, just say that.
Track one. Welcome back, Rihanna. Thank you for the music.
She should have stayed where she was.
Thank you for the music, Rihanna. Thank you.
But to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, let us know what you think. If you've seen Wakanda Forever, let us know in the comments.
Right over left.
Right over left. Make sure you get the salute right. But let us know.
This one.
That one as well, yes.
You look like you just stumbling or something.
It looks like I'm trying to show you something.
But remember, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that go out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on any of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, just tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. Hey man, this is one of the greatest shows ever. This one, the one we're on, the one we're talking about right now, because we talked about all these things, and we get into the movie. It was just a great conversation about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which is not really forever. Keisha said this shit was like a little bit.
They almost died. Their whole civilization was at the tip of that boat, just waiting to be unalived.
but I mean, Black Panther Wakanda for a minute just doesn't roll off the same way. I mean, I don't think they would have got the same marketing that they did.
Black Panther, Wakanda.
If your queen asks you to leave your son behind on a mission, just say no.
That was kind of foul, huh? Right? To leave your son behind to go, rescue my daughter.
Right.
Look here.
Bump your kids.
Like I said, she ain't shit. She ain't never gonna be shit. She wasn't shit.
And Nikita,
she was a horrible queen.
Seriously, Nikita was like, "That's not me. I don't do that anymore. That was a life that I left behind."
I mean, you come out of retirement. My daughter kidnapped by some water people.
And then she That made it even freaking worse that you would ask her to do this.
Did you try to
If
make
she wasn't queening, and I need y'all to get on board with this, y'all can't tell me any different. She was a horrible human being.
So
She tried to make her feel bad for not showing up to the funeral.
So she didn't find General. We would have been on.
So if Nakia had died, would she have taken young T'Challa back to Wakanda?
No, she would.
No, because so you think about it, if Nakia had died, whether it was trying to get Shuri back or if Nakia had died in that final battle, nobody would have known.
Left him.
Nobody would have known.
Nobody would. Thank you.
Because
She said.
Ramonda was
Shuri
the only
didn't know.
other person that knew
We would
about
have had
T'Challa.
Killmonger too. She was not a great queen. I am sorry. She was not.
Nobody would have known.
Nobody would have known.
Shuri wouldn't win.
Imagine your mama to come to you and tell you, leave your kids behind and go find my other kid. Come on, man.
Y'all just gonna do the queen like that, huh?
Queen did it to herself.
Exactly.
We'll roll out and do it. Still had a
I guess we not finally know who the villain of Wakanda is.
That's the true villain of Wakanda Forever.
Everyone's giving everything.
She annoyed me with that too. Shut up.
Oh wow.
She just wanted attention. Your man died, your son died. You need attention. That's all that is.
The thoughts of Keisha.
Miss Keisha, Twitter and Instagram. I have this conversation all day. She was not the best. She was a horrible human being, and I stand by it.
Please tell the people where they can find you.
Me, if you want to. I've talked about this all day. I'm ready. I want all the smoke.
This all.
I can do this all day, Cap.
Michelle, you gonna give your handles out?
No.
Michelle, nah.
She's like, look, I ain't trying to have this.
I don't want that smoke. I don't want none of that. Nah, I thought about it. Nah. Catch me when you see
I
me.
mean, you can slide into the DMs, but no guarantee I'm going to reply to you.
Bye.
But now you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Pigeon Queen.
Yeah, basically everywhere. Basically
She's
everywhere.
like the air. She's everywhere.
All right, and y'all, like Spider said, y'all know where we at. If you don't find us, that means you wasn't looking hard enough. All right, that's all we got this time. Listen, if you got some comments, you know where to leave them in the comment section. If not, then you missed an opportunity to talk to us because we love reading the comments. And somebody answers them. I don't know where he is. He's over somewhere with us. Okay. Spider?
Yo.
Tell the people bye, man. Let the people go.
I mean, you was just going on and on. I mean, you started taking over. I felt like you was feeling like you kind of running the show these days. I don't know.
The queen told me do it, and we all know how that goes.
You're going to be the next one.
See, look.
You're going to be the next one that get dropped.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to that queen.
See y'all next time for ATS.
Thank everybody for joining us. Again, Keisha, Michelle, always love having you on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite.
But to all of our listeners, we appreciate the love. Again, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the movie. But until then, we'll see you in the next episode.